Lani Guinier was a civil rights lawyer, activist, and law professor who had a huge and lasting impact on the legal community. She was the first Black female professor to be granted tenure at Harvard Law School. Lani Guinier was born April 19, 1950, in New York City, to Edward and Eugenia Guinier. Her father was a Black Jamaican-American professor, lawyer, and labor leader, and her mother was a white Jewish-American civil rights activist, speech and English teacher. At the time, interracial marriage was illegal in many states. From a young age, Lani had set her sights on becoming a lawyer. When she was 12, she saw Constance Baker Motley escort James Meredith to classes at the University of Mississippi. This had a profound impact on her because she saw two Black people lawfully entering an establishment that was segregated and did not allow Black people. She was witnessing a change, and she decided to be a part of that change. She decided to work and study hard, graduating third in a class of over 1,000 students at Andrew Jackson High School in Queens. She earned a scholarship to Harvard Radcliffe University in 1967 and then graduated and entered into Yale Law School, where she changed her JD in 1974. She worked many positions as a lawyer, including working for Assistant Attorney General Drew S. Days, who was in the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. Lani and Days worked together to make sure that state and local governments respected the 1963 Voting Rights Act. After some time, she decided to join the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund. In the South, there were many laws in place that made it very difficult for Black people to vote. Lani challenged these laws. She was really good at her job, winning 31 out of the 32 cases that she argued. In 1993, President Bill Clinton, a former Yale Law School classmate, nominated Lani for the position of Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. This was a huge honor for Lani. Her whole life, she had wanted to be a civil rights lawyer, and now she would have the opportunity to make widespread change. But she needed to earn the favor of the United States Senate to be confirmed. In order to do this, she would have to appear before a Senate committee and answer their questions so that they could determine if she was qualified. Before a hearing, many different conservative politicians started scrutinizing her writings. They saw the writings as too radical, different, and unorthodox. Racist people called her nicknames like Quota Queen and even criticized her hairstyle. In light of these criticisms, Guinier could not say anything because she wasn't allowed to talk to the press before a hearing. Bill Clinton cracked under the pressure and withdrew her nomination before her hearing. He was afraid of her ideas that empowered Black Americans. He saw them as too radical to be defended in her hearings. This was a betrayal of her trust, but a loss for the women's rights and civil rights communities. Lani knew that she had to take action. After her nomination was withdrawn, she began her action by taking a break from the political scene. She had time to regroup, think about what happened, and turn the situation around. She knew for a fact that her ideas were unorthodox and not harmful, but helpful to America. She returned to teaching law at the University of Pennsylvania Law School and focused on teaching about social justice. She wrote a book called Lift Every Voice, turning a civil rights setback into a narrow version of social justice. In 1998, she moved to Massachusetts and became the first Black woman to get a tenured professorship at Harvard Law School. Her ideas were not as radical as they were made out to be. Her ideas were that the government and voting laws should protect minority interest. Lani argued that Americans should have more than one vote. This is because most voting districts are drawn in ways that separate voters of color, or they are drawn so that voters of color are all in one district and can't influence any other districts. He came up with the idea of cumulative voting. This is a process where a voter has 4 votes and can put them towards different candidates. For example, a voter could put 3 of their votes into one candidate and the last vote to another. She also helped introduce the Texas 10% bill. The Texas bill grants anyone who has graduated in the top 10% of their high school class admission to a state-funded university. It allows less fortunate students a chance to get college admission. She had many more ideas that are used around the world today. These ideas help support people of color and less fortunate people of all races to have a voice. Cumulative voting is used around the world. It was used in the 2021 New York mayoral election. It was also used in many southern states when Lani worked for the NAACP. The 10% plan is still used in Texas today. This program has helped thousands of students go to college and get the education that they deserve. Throughout her career, Lani Guinier wrote hundreds of articles and several books that further explained her ideas. She had a profound effect on voting rights, education, and social justice.